Hey guys, it's Paige and welcome back to my channel. As most of you guys know, I just moved to Australia for school, and because of that I thought I would take advantage of the fact that I am American, and since I've been here less than a week, I have noticed a lot of differences. So I'm doing a study abroad program and I am staying with a host family, which has allowed me to kind of immerse myself in the culture a lot more than if I was just a normal student on a campus. So I compiled a list of differences that I've noticed within just the first week of being here, and so I'm going to go through that list and hopefully you guys will learn something if you're thinking about studying abroad, or if you just want to know what Australia's like, or if you're Australian and you want to know what America's like, just some differences. So let's get into this video. The first thing that I want to get into is slang. So the slang here in Australia is much different. If something is cool, they'll say like, oh, fair dinkum. I'm saying it in an American accent. It doesn't sound like that when they say it because they have an Australian accent, but they'll say that, or everything is like shortened. So McDonald's, they call it Maccers, and like if you are a college student, they call it like university here, so then they call it uni. Like if you say college, it means something else here. So college is like if you're going into more like what Americans would call like a trade school, like you're going straight to learn like your profession. So if you're not going straight into learning your profession, it's called just like university here, and then they would shorten it to uni. That's more slang that they have. But I mean, just like everything is like slang, everything is shortened. You can look up videos on YouTube where people explain that in more depth, but they don't ever say like the full thing of a word. Like the house I'm staying at, they were doing renovations and they were calling it renos. Just like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the renos. Next thing is their wildlife. So the wildlife here is just different. So there's koala bears here, there are different birds here. The birds here are vicious. They will attack you, they will hurt you. Like I'm just used to crows back in America where I'm from specifically, and crows are pretty harmless. They might try to steal you like a fry if you drop it on the ground. But here, like the birds are territorial and they're just like different types of birds than we have in America. There's wallabies, kangaroos. It's just very different. The next difference, this is difference number 3, is driving. So on the road, like in America, if you are going in an opposite direction, like if you're driving this way and someone's going this way, the lines in the middle of the road are going to be yellow to indicate that it's not a one-way street. If it's a one-way street and traffic's going in the same direction, then the lines are white. But here, all the lines in the middle are white regardless. So even if people are going in opposite directions, like there's no difference in what's in the middle of the road for you to be able to tell, like, is this a one-way street? Or is it not? Like there's no thing in the middle. Like I'm sure there's probably like, there'll be signs that'll be like, oh, wrong way, like that type of thing, but it's not. If you drive, you know what I'm talking about. It won't be like a yellow line to indicate different types of traffic. They also drive on the opposite side of the road. So in America, we drive on the right side, like you keep to the right. In Australia, you keep to the left always. The keeping to the left on the road translates into regular life. So in America, like if you're walking in a shopping mall, if you're just walking anywhere like in a hallway, like you want to stay to the right. Everyone keeps to the right, and then you don't run into people and get that like awkward like that type of thing when you like meet someone. So but in Australia, you keep to the left, like just like with the road. So I keep wanting to run into people because I'm trying to be polite and go to the right side of the street. I'm like, okay, walk on the right. And I'm actually like getting in their way because in Australia, it's the opposite. You have to go to the left. One other thing, this kind of connects to my last point, which the number 2 one about the wildlife. Like in America, there will be signs that'll be like, oh, deer, like beware of deer, so that you don't like hit them. Like it'll just be like a yellow sign with a deer on it so that you know not to, like to drive slower, like be careful so you don't hit one. In Australia, we were driving and they have those signs, but it's a kangaroo on it. Like it's like, don't hit the kangaroo. The next thing is the names of things in Australia. So in Australia, things are just named differently. Like they don't call bell pepper. I can't remember what they call it, like coriander or like it's not called bell pepper though. And shrimp, you can't call it shrimp in Australia. It's called prawns. Like there is no shrimp. Like they were like, oh, we would never like throw a shrimp on the Barbie, even though they do call it like a Barbie here. Like they will call it because of like all their slang, but they would say like we're throwing a prawn on it, not a shrimp. They don't say that. What Americans call a kitchen counter, they call a bench. Oh, and they call what we would call like trash, they call it rubbish. And what we would call a garbage can, they call a bin. So if you were going to say, oh, can you put your trash in the garbage can? Like they would say, can you put your rubbish in the bin? That's how they say things here. I've noticed that in Australia, they have different responses to things. And I think it probably like differs with where in Australia you are. Like this is specifically to to me and where I am in Australia. I'm in Brisbane, Australia. I'm also with a specific host family, so like obviously not everything's gonna be the same everywhere. So if you're from Australia and this isn't your experience, I'm sorry. I honestly have very limited knowledge. I'm not trying to claim like I know everywhere. I'm just speaking specifically to my experience. But when you say thank you to someone, they'll say like, oh, no worries. They don't normally say like, you're welcome. They say like, no worries, or that's okay. When Americans speak, we speak and we just like kind of put a button on the end of our sentences, like a period, like that's it. But when Australians speak, they kind of end on the up of a sentence, like their cadence goes up, so it almost sounds like they're asking you a question. So they'll be like for instance, if someone was saying a statement in America that was like, I hope you had a good day, they'd say like, oh, I hope you had a good day. But in Australia, they'd be like, I hope you had a good day. And it almost sounds like they're asking you like a question, like did you have a good day? But they're not actually asking you a question. They're still just making the statement. They just end on the up. So I'll try to like say that one more time. So in America, it'd be like, I hope you had a good day. In Australia, it'd be like, I hope you had a good day. Like that, if that makes any sense. I'm not that good. I've only been here a week, but I'm trying to imitate it the best that I can. Obviously, they have an accent and I don't, but anyway. The next difference that I noticed is they measure things differently. So they'll like, I was on a freeway and it just casually said like 100. Like, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go 100 miles per hour. Like, this is really dangerous. Just like casually 100 miles per hour, what? But that's not what it is. It's like, it's kilometers, I think, or meters or something like that. But it's not like miles per hour or how we do it in America. So it's different. And so like, it's actually less. So if you see 100, if you're like driving on an Australian road and it says like 100, it's not like 100 miles per hour that we would think in America. It's slower than that because they measure differently. They also, they keep saying stuff like, oh, it's going to be like 22 tomorrow, like 22 degrees. And I'm like, what? That's cold, or like whatever like that. But they measure in Celsius here. They don't measure in Fahrenheit. So it's also not what you would think it is. So 22 is hotter, a lot hotter than 22 would be. 22 degrees Celsius is a lot hotter than 22 degrees Fahrenheit would be. Another thing that I've noticed, and this could just be specific to where I am, like I said, I'm from a specific part of America. I've only lived in that city, in that town. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I also have only experienced Brisbane, Australia, just the city here. So I'm talking specifically about those two places when I say this. So if it's different where you're from, that's okay. We all have different experiences, but I'm gonna speak to mine. And what I've noticed is that the neighborhoods in Portland, or maybe in all of America, I'm not sure, but they're a lot more, like people with the same economic status, people who maybe are like the same culture or things like that, like identify as the same culture, will all kind of be in like little communities together. It's kind of like subdivided. But in Australia, like where I'm living right now, like the family I live in is multicultural, like South American, like one's South American and one's from Australia. Their neighbors right next to them are Swedish. And then like they have another exchange student who's staying with them right now who's Japanese. And then like right across the street, there's like a South African family. So it's like everybody here is really mixed up. Whoops, had an alarm. So everybody here is really mixed up. It's really cool. It's like very, very multicultural. So I'm not saying one culture is better than the other. I'm not saying that anything that I'm saying, I'm not saying anything is bad or one is better. I'm literally just pointing out differences that I have noticed. So I hope this was at all helpful for you guys. And I think I'm going to probably make this a series. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, because I know a lot of people like want to experience a different culture. I wanted to. And so I'm sure like a lot of you guys have questions. Like I had so many questions and I would love to answer them. I might like just do a series about this, answering different stuff. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I will see you guys in my next video, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.